Aden was Britain's toehold in southern Arabia, the gateway to the Red Sea. What became known as the last battle of the British Empire would be fought right in the heart of Aden. But for years before, this fight had been raging far to the north of the colony. Their mission was to quell the fierce Arab tribes that controlled the vast borders of North and South Yemen. These warrior tribesmen were legendary fighters, determined to resist British rule.
We pitted brigade-sized forces against mountain.
The insurgent fighters were exacting a high price from the British forces. Itching to get into Aden and prove themselves were the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, one of the most famous and combat-experienced battalions in the British Army. Their commanding officer was Lieutenant Colonel Colin Mitchell. He would prove to be one of the most controversial figures in Scottish military history. Mitchell's Argylls were gathering in Plymouth. He knew they were heading into a brutal conflict, and he expected to take them. By June 1967, Mitchell and his advance guard had arrived in Aden. The British Army was now working hand in hand with the Arab National Police. It was that the police were riddled with nationalist sympathisers who backed the fight for independence and who were determined to see the end of British rule. Crater was rife with rumour and mistrust.
Crater was a hot, fetid township within the bowl of a volcano, which is why it was called Crater. And it was very much an urban, the urban part.
One day since the Second World War. Deep in the heart of Crater, the pressure was reaching boiling point. The Arab National Police finally turned on their British rulers. To blockade the road, still uncertain of what lay ahead, the British patrol pressed forward. These war paintings from Aden depict the massacre in vivid detail. For the people of Yemen fighting for independence, the so-called mutiny was to be celebrated. For the insurgents of the National Liberation Front, their victory brought more people to their cause. They now believed the British could be beaten and driven out of their...
Those days. The liberation of Crater was a great achievement.
For 2 weeks in the summer of '67, the city of Crater, in the heart of the British colony of Aden, was ruled by the Arabs. Back in Whitehall, politicians feared that going back into Crater would inflame the situation and the Arab revolt would spread. To many... Tensions between Mitchell and Middle East Command were stretched to breaking point. Mitch was champing at the bit to retake Crater. Middle East Command favoured negotiations. They feared a bloodbath and a widespread mutiny across southern Yemen. Mitch swept through Crater. The Argylls met little resistance as they rolled through the city. 1 Arab was killed that night. There were no British casualties. As dawn broke on the morning of July the 4th, the pipes played over Crater. The message was clear, the British were back. This time, Mad Mitch was in charge, the battle-hardened soldier who had lost 3 men. Now he had to keep the peace. His form of martial law would prove even more controversial. It became known as Argyll law.
We're going to be extremely firm and extremely mean. These chaps have gunned down British soldiers. 3 of my own were killed here. And I have no compunction in saying that if some chap now starts throwing grenades or using pistols, we shall kill him. Quite rightly.
Crater was run on Argyll law, and that's a perfectly...
As Argyll law was enforced, there were allegations of mistreatment and abuse.
We did what we were told to do, we stuck with the letter.
What sort of speed are you driving at? You go more slowly. Go slowly,
Sorry,
Crater.
sorry.
Slowly.
Order, sir.
Do you understand?
Order, sir.
There's no speeding in Crater.
Order, sir.
Right, on you go.
The eyes of the world's media were on Crater, but that didn't ease. Even with Argyll law, the British were suffering casualties and were under constant fear of attack. Mad Mitch believed the only way to operate was to take the fight to the enemy. Be active, be seen. Could be waiting round the next corner or lurking at the back of a crowd. And their weapon of choice? The hand grenade. However alert the British soldiers were, casualties were inevitable. camera crew caught the aftermath of one grenade attack on film.
A grenade's gone off. It looks as though one of them's bought it.
One grenade in a crowded market, 4 soldiers caught in the blast.
Somebody had been watching for a soft target and lobbed a grenade over. It was rolled, in fact, so it was very difficult to see.
Arrived figure 3 casualties have been removed. One of them looks bad.
With casualties mounting, Britain's time in Aden was coming to an end. Mitch had flown the flag once more in the heart of Aden. But was the last battle of the British Empire ever worth fighting? A few months after retaking the city, the British were to withdraw from Aden. It was the end of 128 years of British rule in the colony.
وابن الوطن تبكي على ذي سقط في ساحة الميدان هكذا وابن الوطن تبكي على ذي سقط في ساحة الميدان جدي سقط في ساحة الميدان والله شاهد والله شاهد لا يدخل الجنة